Yo, what's up? So I want to show you how I took this mix and by adding a ton of saturation, turned it into this. Okay, so let's break it down. Enter the matrix. Okay, so we're in a simulation of a simulation now. Let's get into it. Okay, so first we have kick. I'm running decapitator on it. On channel E, it's going to add some nice shine to the top end and fart out the low end a little bit, making it a little bit more clicky and bringing it more forward into the mix. Here's off and on. So I know that sounds a little bit aggressive. It's just touching the line of farting, but it's not sharding. Because remember, the kick is coming through the overheads, it's coming through the room, it's coming through the far room, and also the mix knob is turned down. So it's not 100% sharding, it's just farting a little bit. Next we have the snare. I'm doing the same thing. I have channel E going as well, and I'm blending in the mix knob to taste. Check it out. So it's sort of cutting that signal at the top end, pushing it forward in the mix, giving a little bit more bite and keeping the low end consistent by, again, farting it out. And then on the overall drum bus, this is my favorite tape plugin, the soft tube tape machine plugin. Specifically this channel B setting, it sounds better to me than the other ones, especially on drums, because it cuts a little bit of like mid-range and a little bit of high mids so that it leaves room for that smile curve, which a lot of people add later on the drum bus. They add a lot of lows, they add a lot of highs to get that smile curve, but this is a natural way to do it while also just distorting out the sort of boxiness frequencies. So here we go, check it out, off. So it adds like a little bit of a tickle on the top end and a little bit of rumble on the low end. And it makes the drums just sound a little bit warmer. But if you want to play with this tape speed knob right here, you can turn it down to 15 inches per second. Personally, I think that 2 inches per second is plenty, but we're going to go to 15 studio here. And it's going to tame down the brightness of those cymbals a little bit and make the drum kit sound even warmer. And then something else you can do with your tape machine is you can push the input and lower the output. That way it's hitting the tape machine a little bit harder and you can really redline the grit in this thing. And then if it does get too gnarly, but you like the fuzz on it, then you can turn down the dry wet knob. Right now, I just have it set all the way, grinding 100%. And then the last thing I'm gonna throw on this drum bus is Devil Lock here. It's gonna really pump out the drums and really crunch the drums, so you need to be careful with it. I have the mix knob set to 1 or 10%. Check it out, off. And let me show you what it sounds like 100% wet. So you want to be careful with this one because it's really aggressive. I have the attack set to fast so that it's not getting in the way and not pumping too much. And then I have the darkness turned on just a little bit so it's not getting too harsh in the top end. And I did get a 30-day trial when I first got it, but the next day I bought it. So I'm just waiting for this trial to expire. But yeah, I think this Devil Lock plugin or the Decapitator plugin is really going to be the most bang for your buck. So here's the drums with saturation. And without saturation. Those drums still sound great, but they're a little bit safe. And also, I just wanted to say real quick, you can go even harder on these drums if you're doing like an indie project or more dry sounding drums. These drums have a lot of room and they have a lot of ring to them and a lot of rumble to them. So you kind of have to be careful with a huge sounding kit like this. But if you're doing an indie sounding project or acoustic sounding project, it's kind of cool if you really distort out those dry signals, really pushing it forward in the mix, giving it its own space. And then next we got bass. I'm throwing on Little Ultra Boy. I really like the drive on this. You can either throw it up all the way and then turn the mix knob down to get more of like a fuzz parallel thing blended in, or you could run it how I'm running it right in the middle and have the mix knob all the way up, and it just sort of grinds that mid-range and top end to really push your bass forward and give it a little more bite. So check it out, off. And let me show you if I really push that drive knob and then turn down the mix knob, what happens. So it's pretty cool. You can change the actual feeling of your bass by just messing with the drive knob and the mix knob to really get a tone that fits your mix. For this, it's obviously like a heavy pop punk rock track, so I just want it to grind in the top end and the mid range a little bit. And the last thing is the guitars. I have 6 guitar tracks. I have 4 rhythm. 2 of those rhythms are a little brighter. 2 of those rhythms are a little bit more mid range. And then I have a lead track on top that's like this chorus lead with a lot of distortion. So what I used on it is Devil Lock. I have the crush all the way down because I don't want it to like pump too much. And then I have the crunch a lot higher than I have on the drum bus. I have a fast release. And then also I have the darkness knob turned up a little bit more because I don't want too much like fizz and like hiss on the top end. And then I have the mix knob a little bit higher. But this is going to help glue all the guitars together and also give it its own private room to fart in, away from the drums and away from the bass. All right, so here it is all off, and then I'll turn it on halfway through. So if you mess with that darkness knob and take out some of the highs from what this is actually doing, it's going to focus a little bit more in that mid-range, giving the guitars a ton more bite. Okay, so that was all the beans I had to spill on saturation. I hope you guys enjoyed that video. I hope you tried out on your own mix. All right, I got to get back to work. I'll catch you guys next time.